Some people are making $300,000 a year for attending a meeting once a quarter because they sit on a for-profit board for a corporation. And they like to hold on to it too. They'll be on there for like 12 years, 15 years till they die. So we need to make sure that, yes, that we are sitting on those boards.
Welcome. Have a great evening. Settle in, enjoy the wine and the food, and say hello to Stacy.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Stephanie is a role model for so many women in Houston and in our community, especially, all of the women here, to be able to, and this was her dream. So, tonight's theme is dream big, invest in yourself, and achieve the unthinkable. And that is exactly what Stephanie Suru did and what she is doing to foster and champion that for so many women entrepreneurs. And looking around this room is incredibly inspiring because there's so many resourceful, powerful women in this room, attorneys, realtors, bankers, you name it, and we can do it. It's all here. Yes, we can. So I'm, so excited that some of you, including myself, we brought our daughters here because it's so important for them to learn early on that wealth, that talking about money, that it's not taboo. We need to have a healthy relationship with money and talk about investing early. It's so important. Otherwise, we will never break the cycle. We will never be able to close that wealth gap. And so, Sophia is like, she is a boss and, she's in training now. She's 10 years old, straight A student, and, just plays chess, plays golf, and sings in the choir, and just makes me so proud every day. And so I already know, I'm building, and I'm going to hand it over to her one day, and she's going to take it to a whole nother level because she's been exposed to it so young. I have no doubt you are going to, and since she was 3 years old, our cousins were calling her Miss President. So if that's what you want to do, you can do it. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to invite Sarah Smith to the stage. I have a really incredible team that I usually recognize at the end, but I'm going to recognize now. And I have an all Latina, all women team that, been building with. So Sarah she has her own Speakerbox Media. So she does podcasts and productions and incredible at what she does. So I was on a podcast with Softex and with Chris Howard, and I was just so impressed with her and all her skills that she brought that I was like, I got to work with her. So I called her up, and here we are, our third or fourth event together. So I see it. We're going to go on a world tour one day. We're going to take it all the way. That's how big that I dream. It's not just in Houston. I dream out of space, out of this world, but that's what we have to do. And actually, part of the reason why this event happened as well is I was talking with Cassandra. Where's Cassandra? Okay, and SheSpace does a lot of really cool programming. So including, we celebrated RGB's birthday, and they often have vision board parties. And so we're like, how can we take that vision board to a whole nother level? Because every time I come to a vision board party, I have a really hard time because I don't find things in the magazine that I want to do. I'm beyond that magazine. I can't find one that has what I want to do. So I have to just write it down and I'm like always constantly like taking notes, writing things down, getting inspired just by being exposed to something, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to do that too one day, or I want to, do this, but add my own little twist and flavor to it, So that's some of what we're going to be talking about today.
Thank you for inviting me on to share this platform. Stacey's extremely generous with her time and her knowledge, so I encourage you, think about your questions throughout the conversation, because as you can see, she's got all the energy and loves to answer questions, so think about the tough ones. But to kick this off, Stacey is the... Is it on? Yep, it's on. Stacey is the founder and CEO of Dream Big Ventures, and I'm going to let her introduce her company more. But like she said, my name is Sarah Smith. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Speakerbox Media, and so we're hoping to bring you a conversation today that leaves you thinking, that leaves you inspired, and that leaves you wanting more, right? Thinking bigger for yourself. And so throughout the conversation, we're going to ask questions to you. And that means you got to be bold enough to say your dreams out loud, to answer questions back to us, and ponder what you want out of this lifetime too, right? So to kick it off, I'm gonna start with, listen, somebody dreams big if they name their company Dream Big Ventures. So Stacey, tell me a little bit, for the people who don't know, tell us a little bit about founding Dream Big Ventures and how you transitioned from your corporate career to founding Dream Big.
Sure. So my name's Stacey Latoyson. I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban. My amazing parents are right here in the room. So excited that they're here, and they are always so supportive. Whether it's their daughters, I'm in my 40s, my sister's in her 50s. All my nephews, their great grandkids, like they're always there, and so we appreciate that love so much. And so I worked for Chevron. Well, went to U of H, any Cougs in the house, did my undergrad there. That's right, that's where I first met Jennifer Pammon at freshman orientation. And, my journey started off pretty challenging, I got pregnant with my son DJ here, who's now 25, when I was 17. And I was like a basketball star, getting all these scholarship offers, straight A student. I wanted to go to Ivy League school, but, that happened. But it made me so strong. And, because of that, I feel like I have an S on my chest. And if I can get through what I went through at 17 and able to still go to college, I was working full time during college. I was going to school at night. I was singing in a band at night to make extra money. And I'm raising my baby with a dad who wasn't there. So it was tough. So if I can get through that and be where I am today, all of you can too. And hopefully you don't have to, we definitely don't want our daughters to go through that. So, and I worked for Chevron for 22 years and had a really amazing journey, had experienced several expat assignments that were very enriching for me and my children. Went to China, worked there for 5 years. I was managing multi-billion-dollar projects. We were building offshore platforms, and I was managing the money and the budget and securing funding with our partners and meeting with government officials. And so I've always enjoyed numbers in business and socializing. And building relationships, yeah. So it's like anytime you come to one of the Dream Big events, it's a party, it's a celebration. And but during the pandemic, so we were working in Angola, Africa. Actually, and Sophia was born in Beijing, China. DJ speaks Mandarin. It was a really amazing experience. Brought my parents over and my nephews, and we got to explore the world. And some of my friends even came out to visit. And then my last position, I was manager of innovation and strategy. And, probably as a lot of us, you think, is this really my dream? Am I really getting, am I in love with this? Am I waking up every day, loving what I'm doing? And, the answer was no, I wasn't. I met a lot of really great people and had these great experiences, but I wasn't passionate about it. And I didn't feel like I was really fulfilling my purpose and reaching my full potential. Because, these companies, they throw that carrot out there of the salary, maybe an annual bonus, but, there's some things that they may not give you the opportunity, even though you're more than capable than your male counterpart. Sometimes they overlook you. Many times, actually, they overlook us. And that's why there's that huge gender gap. So I decided, after taking a trip with my mom and my sister, first time ever, we went to Jamaica. And we had a really deep conversations that we'd never talked about before. And I asked my mom, like, if you could go back to your 40s, what would you tell your 40-year-old self, knowing what you know now about life? What are some things you would share? And I asked them, and I'm like, Mom, what is something you still want to do? What are you still dreaming about? What's inspiring you? And asking my sister, and they asked me the same thing. What's your dream? And I was like, well, I love business. I would love to invest in businesses. I would, be Shark Tank and be in the background. I love learning the backstory and, why the people created it. And so I'm like, well, I'm always telling my kids that they should chase their dreams. So I'm like, why am I not doing the same? And I'm capable. So, I decided to start Dream Big Ventures. I went back to school at Columbia and started their venture capital and private equity program. Never thought I'd go back to school, let me tell you. I was like, after I got my MBA and I finished in 2006, I definitely never thought I'd go back to school. But I attended this women's executive conference, and Serena Williams was the keynote speaker. And I know one day I'm going to meet her. I know it's meant to be. And actually I was at a dinner and there was a guy who she invested in his fund and he was sitting next to me. And so he knows her. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I know I'm going to meet her one day and let her know how much she inspired me. But that's where I first found out that only 2% of VC funds go to women and diverse-led startups. So I'm like, all right, I already kicked down the door and broke a lot of glass at Chevron, working in the oil energy, which is very male dominated. So I'm ready to take on a whole nother challenge because this 2%, somebody's got to do something about this. And I believe that I can. So that's how I got started. That's what's brought me here. Now I'm the first Latina in Texas, the first Latina VC in Texas.
Okay.
Let's go.
And there's another kind of statistic that Stacy actually brought to my attention that I wanted to highlight here. And it's basically, according to Forbes, via the United Nations, globally today, women earn 77 cents for every dollar that men make. At that current rate, it's going to take us 257 years to close the gap if we do nothing. So what does that tell us? We have to start doing something about that. And so that's what I love about Stacy's story and about the work that she does is she's equipping us to do something about it. We're going to start talking about how to bring those dreams to reality, how to make investments early, and through her story here today. So one of the things I know that you have been in rooms that you were not made to feel comfortable in, that maybe weren't so forthcoming to you or accepting of you. Have you always been this confident, or do you ever deal with doubt? How do you go about approaching those tough situations, and how have you overcome that?
I don't know. My mom and dad might be able to answer that better than me.
Tell the truth. Say yes. Say yes. Okay.
Yeah, I've always been very bold, and I also played sports. I'm competitive, and aggressive when I'm out there. I'm not just okay, I'm not gonna be riding the bench. I want to be in there winning and taking over.
So let me ask you this. Go ahead.
Well, first thing, we got her prepared for school. All the things that you do when you're getting ready to go to start kindergarten. We had her all psyched up. She was just so exuberant about going to school. We were like, phew, got that on the way. A lot of kids were scared and everything. She was pumped up. We had her so excited about going to school. Well, when she got off, came home that first day, she came in the house all mad and everything. And came in, she was like, I said, how was school? And she was excited. She was like, I didn't learn nothing. You had to learn nothing. I didn't learn nothing, Mom. I didn't learn nothing. I said, what do you mean? She was like, all the stuff that they did, I already know that. Why do I have to go to school now? I said, because you do have to go to school. She just was so excited about school, and we had her, but, you know, she had a different dream, like you said. Her dream was bigger than what we thought. We just were trying to get her prepared for the basics.
You know, that's
She wanted to learn. She already knew how to tie her shoes. She already knew how to do this. She
How to
already knew how to
read.
do that. You know, the whole time going to school that first day was a disappointment.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, I'm still like that to this day. Like, time is currency. So, you know, you have to get a lot of value out of how you spend your time, right? So I was like, what am I doing here? I'm not learning anything, you know? And I'm like that in meetings too. Like, why are people just keep repeating and saying the same thing over? Like, we don't need to be here for an hour. Like, get to the point. Let's go. Because we got things to do and business to be done, right? So kind of always been like that. Chop, chop.
what a blessing to have encouraging like parents. And so, okay, knowing that about you now, you have always been confident. How do you go about championing other women to do the same? Like, what is your advice to women in here who may be not as confident, maybe a little shy, maybe behind the scenes? How do you go about continuing to build that confidence in yourself and other women around you?
Yeah, I mean, wow, like we all have different desires, different dreams, different purposes, you know, and I get so excited to see, like, you know, the people that I love and my friends, you know, to hear them reaching for the stars and going after their dreams. I mean, for example, Kershalyn, she worked at Chevron for years doing IT, you know, okay, making good money, and that's kind of why, you know, but her true calling, I mean, she's always been an amazing designer. And to see her now doing that is like incredibly, you know, exciting to see. So, and that's what it takes. We all have to support each other and uplift each other in our businesses. You know, Tiffany, she just started her new business. So, I mean, anything that you need to come to Tiffany and get her number and her cards this evening, because she does like a concierge service, will take care of things, because that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Like we said, time is currency. It's okay to like not have to take on everything. And we often make that, for some reason, as women, we take on a lot of things that we don't need to take on. And I tell people, don't take the notes. Let that man in the meeting take the notes. And you know, maybe, right? You know, maybe like I need a lot of help. I delegate a lot, you know, because it's like, it's so much. And I'm so thankful when my mom comes over and I have to go on a business trip, you know, I appreciate that. And I know, okay, everything's good, you know, like DJ's taking the dog to their bed, and, you know, I put my dad to work too. I put everybody to work, because it's like, we all need help. It takes a village. Right? You know, and you shouldn't have to take on everything, because then you get overwhelmed, and I mean, it's not necessary. And we also need to take time to pour into yourself, whatever that may be. You know, Jessica said, hey, you know, she's been going through a lot, and she took last weekend just to relax and read a book. Marie just recommended a really amazing book. I forgot the title, but I'm going to look back at the message so I can read it. But you know, it's like sometimes we need that, or a spa day, or meet your girlfriend to go get manicures, or whatever it is. Like, make sure that you take time for yourself. We need it.
Whew, that is a big one. I don't know one. It's funny, I was sitting in this room of women and they asked them to name what was the biggest feeling that they were having at that moment. And 80% of the women in there said their stress was a level between 8 to 10. And I thought, how unfortunate is that? How much talent are we leaving on the table because we're so spread thin? And so, investing in yourself is a huge thing that you're always advocating for. Again, I heard her say, you see something in your friend, tell them, I see this in you, check up on them, why aren't you doing this? Stacy is one of those people that when she sees some information you need to have, she's gonna send it to you. She's gonna email you, she's gonna text you. Last week she gave me another book and I can't wait to dig in, but making that type of investment in your friends and paying it forward. So I love that about you and about your message.
And that's also the beautiful thing about She Space. So many different entrepreneurs here all supporting each other. That's what this space is about, like everybody should be a customer and a client and, help each other to grow, help each other to, have a roundtable and discuss some of the risks and how can I grow and scale my business so that it can be even more successful. Those are the types of things. That's why you have these peers here. That's the whole purpose, to nurture that here.
And you're a big advocate of continuous education. And I know you attended an amazing luncheon, so I'd love to hear about that. But, tell us a little bit about some of the ways that you keep yourself in tip-top shape and challenged.
Yeah, there's like so many free resources out here. So, there's programs here at She Space, there's programs at ION, there's webinars online. Really, there's so many resources and a wealth of information out there. All you have to do is seek it. And if you do, share it. Maybe, your friends and your colleagues don't get a chance to go, but you can share what are some key takeaways, take those notes. That's one thing I do. I like to sit in the front. And ever since I was little, I'm like, I'm studying, I want to learn. And so I like to be right there at the front so I can, really take in the information and absorb it. And I take my notes and read after it, later. And I take action and going to conferences, all of it, forums.
Tell me a little bit about the wealth luncheon you attended today, about the psychology of wealth. What were some of the takeaways there that stood out to you?
Yeah. So actually, and Stephanie was there too. We just happened to run into each other. It was Goldman Sachs was hosting the psychology of wealth for their program called In the Lead. It was over at the Post Oak. It was really nice. But they were saying that a lot of us, we have trauma. Like we have money trauma, right? We don't look at it like in a positive light. They asked us, if you were to throw out a word, what word, how would you feel about investing, about money? Well, it's because we don't feel confident because we haven't had those early conversations. Maybe it's in the past, it caused you stress. It caused you anxiety. You always feel like you're digging yourself out of a hole. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You don't know, it can feel so overwhelming and intimidating. But it's like, how do you flip that over and change your mindset about it and look at what it can create, the opportunities, the new adventures, that wealth and investing. And it can be fun. It can be empowering. Like you see the sign here, empower the women around you. Well, money and investing in wealth, it's empowering. Not only can it transform your life, it will transform your children's, your great-grandchildren, for generations. It transforms your community because often once we do, we also give back. So it can, help everyone in your community. It can help, your parents too. I had the opportunity to take these expat assignments and my parents went to Australia and New Zealand and China and Japan. All these countries that they never thought they'd, South Africa, we had an amazing time, Thailand.
Yeah, your path is connected to others for sure. Definitely. Well, let me tell you, I know that, if you couldn't tell already, Stacy is a table flipper. She is gonna walk up in a room and take up space. And I know there's plenty of
I've actually done that before.
There's plenty of amazing stories of instances which you've done just in the short time I've known you. I've seen it. So tell me about how you advocate for yourself in rooms and what type of big, bold steps have you taken that have helped land opportunities for you?
So I would say I take risks. I show up. I introduce myself. I see, how can I help you as well? Because it's a two-way street. You can't just expect and have your hand out for other people to help you. And advocate for others. I would also say, putting your money where your mouth is, right? So I'm proud to be an Agility Bank shareholder, and Laquita is here, the Chief Banking Officer. And you know how empowering that is to have a women-led bank, the first ever in Texas? I mean, yes. Oh, I'm sorry, in the United States. Yes, that is huge. That is huge, and why did it take until 2022 for that to happen, But somebody had to say, hey, this is a problem. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to take action. And that's exactly what their team did. And then they got a lot of people together, and especially women. I mean, I think 70% of the investors and shareholders are women.
Yeah.
Yes. We can do anything we set our mind to. Remember that.
And not only does Stacey write checks, but she's also on quite a few boards. And I would love for you to speak to kind of the importance of that as women. Why do we need to be on the boards and be for the causes in a different way than we have, not just stay in the background?
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to be honest. I was not exposed to boards. I was not involved in any boards until maybe learned about it 2 years ago. Because in my corporate job, certain people who were in certain departments, were the ones that were, okay, we're going to place them on the board and the company sponsors. But, I wasn't, not me. I wasn't in that, yes. So it wasn't until I started looking externally and creating a network externally. I attended a few women's conferences, the ASER, Hispanic Association of Corporate Responsibility, and one of the panels was all about boards. And so then it started opening my eyes of things I could get involved in and how I can help. And so now I'm proud to say, I'm on 3 boards. I'm on University of Houston, which is my undergrad, my alumni, so I'm very excited about that. And the Houston Hospice, as well as serving as an advisory board member for Softtech, which is one of the venture studios that I've invested in. And then there's another potential one that I will announce in the future. But yeah, I'm so excited about it. But I had to put that out in the universe, right? If you don't think about it, if you don't talk about it, so things manifest when you put it out there and you hold yourself accountable. And you create an action plan of how you're going to get there. You have to strategize and look towards the future, plan ahead, look beyond just tomorrow, look beyond today and tomorrow, look about 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? Are you going to be still doing the same thing that you're doing right now? Or do you want to grow? So you just have to have that mindset, that CEO mindset. You can't hold me down.
I want to give them a peek behind the curtain a little bit because I got to actually see this in action. And I know that, sometimes when you're walking into rooms, it can be intimidating when you see no one that looks like you, whether that's gender, whether that's color, whether that's culturally, to feel like you're unseen already walking in the room. And I know not only did you write a check for a Softtech Venture Studio, but you approached them about being on their board. Tell us how you did that and walk us through the conversation that you had to have.
Yeah, another really great skill set to have is identifying an opportunity. If you see a gap, I'm sometimes they don't mean to, but they overlook things. It's not intentional. But at Softtech, it was all white males and their leadership team, as well as and then all males on their board. And I was like, really? And they're trying to recruit me? They want me to spend this much money investing in them? I was like, that's funny. I was like, there's no women here. So I had a conversation, called them up, and I mean, that's all it took. They just didn't even think about that. And they're like, you know what? That's a brilliant idea, and we would love to have you. We know that you bring a really a great perspective, and we know that our business will be even better because you're going to add value to us.
Bottom line, ask. Advocate for yourself. You have to speak up for yourself. When you see the opportunity to be bold enough to go after it, what's the worst they can say? No. And again, they're lost, right? So I'm glad that they took her up on that. I'm glad that their board is more diverse and more broadened in their perspective. So in broadening our, perspective here, one of the things that I know about your career is that it was at one company, and you've talked in the past about how it's important to build equitable pathways for yourself to build your net worth. Walk me through maybe 2 or 3 things you would have done differently as a corporate professional that maybe you would like to share with any other corporate professionals in the room.
I would have done more of this. Learn and grow from others, more mentoring, more, summits. And, I waited until I was in my 40s because, I was like, I'm good. I was happy on that expat track, felt, had that safety net, knew how much I was getting in every 2 weeks. I didn't take that risk of being an entrepreneur, but now I'm so grateful and so happy that I did, because I've experienced so many new things, new, really thrilling, amazing things the last year and a half since I started this business. So, and Stephanie, when I came here and we sat down, just getting to know each other, and she's like, I cannot wait to sit here across from you in 3 years and see where you're at. So oftentimes you also need to tell people, share those things with people, because a lot of times we don't see that in ourselves, right? We're just every day doing our thing, getting by, and we don't see what other people see in us. So if you do see it, share that with that person, let them know. So I really appreciated that, and I will never forget that. And I was at the U of H Table Talk Luncheon, and Amanda McMillian is the CEO and president of the Greater Houston United Way. And she shared that, she was an attorney, but a mentor of hers said, I see you being CEO one day. And just having, somebody to tell you that, she's like, okay, it almost gives you I can do this, belief and confidence that because another person told you that. So, it can be so powerful.
Yeah, speaking into others. And speaking of speaking into others, I know one of the things you're big on, which clearly we saw Sophia's here, your children are here, is making sure that you bring others into the room. Tell me your thoughts about that.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy that everybody is here. And, anytime if I hear of an opportunity, even with this amazing marketing team that I have, Agility Bank is like, wow, who's doing it? And I'm like, here's their information. Give them a call. They're incredible to work with, and same with you and Oriana and everybody. Oh, you need the most amazing, top-notch realtor in Houston, award-winning. Marie Gilbert is right here, Jennifer Parrish, she's just now getting started, she's right here. We have all of that. We have all of those amazing resources in this room.
What does it mean to you to create a future for your daughter? What are you hoping to change for her?
I want to level the playing field. I want to close that. We shouldn't have to wait 250 years for her to get paid the same thing that her male counterpart is getting paid. She should never feel like she is not valued. So she's going to be running the show. Actually, I watched a documentary, I don't know if anybody else has seen it, about the Buss family, Dr. Jerry Buss and the Lakers. And he brought his kids to work, and he just really trained them to take over the whole dynasty. And Jeannie Buss was the owner of the Lakers. I don't know if she still is, but you know, it's like since she was small, like he trained her. So like, I don't know where Sophia is right now, but I know she's so smart and okay, perfect. I have every confidence in the world that she's even wears a T-shirt that says "Future Leader." And when they had Catholic Schools Day, the theme was, and they finally got a chance to like have a theme day, and it was like, "Who's your favorite superhero?" And she wore a suit because she said, "My mommy is my superhero." So I know I'm doing something right.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, Stacy says this frequently, but she says, if you can see her, you can be her. And when I look at Stacy as a Latina woman, it inspires me to say, I can be bigger, I can be better, I should be dreaming bigger, I should be investing, I should be looking into these things. And it's so important for us to see other women doing what we want to do and believing bigger so that the people behind them, like us or whoever else is in the room looking at them, can see that. And I know that there's so many women that even if we don't realize it are looking up to each and every one of us. We have like a sphere of influence, right? Yes. So when you think about building the future of Dream Big Ventures, what's your hope for the future? What you said you have big dreams. Tell us some of your big dreams.
Oh man. How much time do we have? I mean, every day there's like a new dream. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do that too. Gosh, I really want, you know, this fund, the first fund. I'm planning to launch it this year, at the end of the year. So I'm like so excited about that.
Tell us about that. What is a
yes.
fund?
Okay, you start talking about venture capital. We haven't even gotten there yet. So Dream Big is investing in women and diverse-led startups in energy transition, climate tech, and health tech, and which is like the bread and butter for Houston. And there's already so many men that are just out for grabs. And I'm like, no, equity, you know, we need some equity here. And I'm in making space in that room.
And so when you say launching a fund, what is that big goal of yours, and how can we support? As women, what should we be thinking about when it comes to finances and building long-term wealth?
So one thing I want to share, you know, when I was at Chevron, we all learn about a 401k plan. They don't tell us that much about it, but, you know, hopefully you learn from your colleague that it's a good idea to, you know, put some money back, don't spend all your paycheck. A lot of us also learn about real estate. You know, one of our first goals is buying a house, and then maybe you buy another one and rent it out. But a lot of us, it's like this venture capital is a secret. You know, things happen behind closed doors. That's the reason why it's only 2%. So it's like expanding that, knowing that we can be shareholders in banks. We can invest in tech startups. So that's what I want each and every one of you to know. You know, you don't have to just settle for only your 401k plan. Like, you can do so much more. You can get a 10x return on some, you know, tech company that's building this amazing thing that's going to shape our future. You know, you belong at that table too.
I will be looking out for the future announcement of Dream Big Ventures' first fund. We're going to put it out into the Atmos right now because I know you're going to make it happen. So I know that you guys probably have, you know, questions for Stacy, and so I don't want to take up all the time. I want to open the floor for you to ask your questions as well. But Stacy had a question for you guys that I want to put out there, and that's, what part of your approach is no longer serving you and your goals? So, if you want to, if you'd like to ask her a question, I'm going to come down now. I'd love for you to raise your hand. I'll come over to you. You can either answer that question or tell us what you're dreaming big about and ask her a question. Anybody in the room have any questions? Go.
And please, when you get the mic, introduce yourself. Like, that's a pet peeve of mine, that when people go around for Q&A and they just ask their question, it's like, let us know who you are. What do you do? Who are you?
Laquita Ciprian, Agility Bank. Stacy, this is phenomenal. And thank you for being so courageous for the rest of us.
Thank you.
So if you can talk about it, I'd like to know what your timeline is, before you start opening the fund and investing in these companies?
Well, right now, I'm targeting September 1st. So I was on the phone with attorneys and this is their thing too. I love meeting founders, it's like so exciting meeting them and learning about their company and they all want to meet for lunch and coffee. But right now, because I'm trying to raise, so I'm meeting with a lot of investors and I'm meeting with attorneys and just trying to get the whole back office structured. So, but that is my goal, is September 1st. And luckily, I don't know if some of you made it to the ION last week, but Mendoza Ventures, they were the first Latino and woman-led fund that raised $100 million out of Boston. And I hosted them last Wednesday at the ION. And so they're my mentors and advisors. So I'm so grateful to have them to, make sure that I'm don't have to make some of the same mistakes and go through some of the same hurdles that they may have encountered early on. So thankful for that.
Fantastic. Any other questions?
My name is Teresa Parker. I'm the founder of the Vegan Palette. Just glad to be in the room with Stacy. I was connected via email to her, and just the last 2 days spending the time in the room where she's been in the panel has been very inspiring and has made me shift some other things as far as mindset things, and I wanted to let you know that. Also, one of the things that was mentioned yesterday, I wanted to mention in the room again, was to building the community to all support each other as far as women are concerned. And I'd love to connect with anybody afterwards because I want to build that community and make us all strong where we can be our own support.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyone else? Don't be shy. That's what this is about. This is about us all learning and growing together.
Hello, my name is Brooke Young. I'm the owner of Vegan Lux Aesthetics. And Vegan Lux Aesthetics is Houston's only 100% plant-based spa space. So we provide advanced facials, full body waxing, and brand consulting that's 100% plant-based. And I had the pleasure of meeting Miss Teresa, who told me about tonight. So that's how, we are connected and stay connected. My question to you in regards to the future of funding, I know that your initial efforts will be for more so tech and things in, engineering and things that, shape our communities that way. But as a 20-year beauty industry veteran, I have done many speaking engagements around the country on the spa space and beauty. And they are heavily run by men that have large portfolios of lots of different companies. And we rarely get to see people that look like you that fund our businesses. So do you think that in the future, for you, perhaps, you might think of, supporting beauty brands in that effort, especially in a growing community such as Houston? I'm originally from New York City, but this is my second home. I've been here for 15 years. And it's growing so vastly, but there's not a lot of support in the beauty space. And I will say that, in closing, that the Black and Latina dollar for the beauty industry is over 90% in the US. We are putting so much money into the space to look and feel our best, but we're not really having a lot of ownership on a larger level. So what are your thoughts in regards to funding beauty?
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yes, we're spending all this money on beauty products, and who knew that it's all going in the pockets of these men? What do they spend? Well, I'm always wanting to learn something new, and so that's something that I would definitely consider. But I also, I'm a limited partner in several different funds, so I get a lot of deal flow, and I could pass it along to other investors that I know that their specific thesis is consumer and beauty. So that's part of it too. As an investor, it helps to grow your network, and you're partnering with others, and and learn about other things and other opportunities that are out there. So I love to get you connected and learn more. But it's right. I mean, look.
Fund in her future.
I mean, look.
Focused fund. Right?
Look at Rihanna's Fenty. I love her lipsticks, and yeah, and what's her one of the Kardashian. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made there, as well as just having that woman's perspective. So thank you, and I appreciate you sharing that. And I wish you all the best, all the success. We all need you to succeed here, and especially coming from Houston, we need more success stories of our businesses just flourishing. Yes. And we should all come visit her spa. Mother's Day is coming up, everybody.
Oh, yes, and we have, actually, Teresa and I are actually partnering on a really great curated event. I have cards for that as well. You can get the QR code, and it's gonna be so amazing. So her company, my company, and another business in the area, Clutch Distilling, which is the only one of the only Black-owned distilling companies. So it's gonna be a tour of the facilities, rum tasting, mini facials by yours truly, light bites.
Yes.
With Teresa, and the tickets are on sale, so we'll definitely chit chat about that.
Please do share. You've got 2 rum bums right behind you. That's the Puerto Rican.
Bacardi. Question, yes.
Hi, my name is Martha Vega. Hey, nice to see you again. So I currently work at Microsoft. So my career started really, I'm from Mexico. I moved to the US and I started all over, right? So I came with 2 suitcases and a lot of dreams. After my MBA, I started a business which lasts only 1 year, which I became one of the statistics, right? Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest things you are ever gonna do. And being a mom, which I am. So I went into the safe route corporate. I'm learning. I'm very curious, investing on myself. Whether your career is in corporate or entrepreneurship, everybody has a call, right? But there's that time when it's your first in everything. How do you manage that first initial fear of the first thing? You're gonna raise your first fund. There's so many unknowns. What's your strategy to face those risks? And how do you surrender to what do you do so you know what to do next if something doesn't happen the way you want?
Yeah, it is a big risk and bold move. Let's say leaning into my network, people who have that experience, who've been there before, having that advisory board and people that I can call on to ask questions who've been through it before. And thankfully I have that, a friend at Latitude Ventures, and they raised $100 million, and Mendoza Ventures, and I'm meeting bi-weekly with them. They're taking the time to do this. So I appreciate that. That's what's helpful, right? Or, just talking to people who have that experience is helpful.
Hey, Stacy. Hey, girl, hey. So I'm going to ask a really academic question. Where the cash at? How do we do this? What are you looking for? What are investors looking for? How do we actually see ourselves going after these dollars? You're investing in clean energy, energy of the future. You connect with a lot of other VCs for deal flow. So if you're in food or in beauty or in another line, how do we find that money and find people that are willing to deploy it?
Focusing on your clients, getting your users, growing that and scaling that. If you focus on that and you're getting a lot of progress there, and you're generating revenue, then you definitely get investors' attention, because they see that, okay, they're doing this successfully. I don't have to bring the customers. They're bringing these customers. They're getting traction. So those are really, and of course, the management team, the leadership as well. How experienced are you?
Hi, I'm Alicia Goodrow, and I'm the lawyer for the entrepreneurs, right? So I've seen and I've helped in and I've put together the 1,000 pages of paperwork you need to raise money and to get your house in order. And one thing that investors want are people who have failed but keep trying, right? Because if they've failed and they've kept trying, then they've learned on somebody else's nickel, which is really valuable. It's really hard to do your first deal. It's really hard to do your first deal. But it's easier to do your second deal. So I'm going to tell you an inspiring story of failure. So with a group of women, we launched a film production company, a film fund, in fact, and we were going to raise $25 million to produce films because I had raised over $90 million for those guys to make films. And they went to the Oscars and they went to Venice and they made tons of money. I'm like, well, if these idiots can do it, and they were kind of idiots, we can definitely do it, right? We were all about if you can see it, you can be it. So we wanted to empower women writers, women directors, and stories that lifted up women. All right, so we failed. But we didn't fail. I actually had one film that we made, 2 films that we kind of made, and then we gave the money back on because it just wasn't going to work. And a 3rd film that we got about $10 million raised, and a director and some of our cast and all that. And then the writer kind of went crazy and pulled it away from us. I went around and I gave money back to investors. And I had half of my investors said, please just open a bank account and leave that money in it because you will have more ideas later. And you've given me money back, which means you have my trust, right? You have my trust. So what you're building when you fail, what you're building when you succeed a little bit is trust. And you're building an on-ramp for yourself and for everybody around you. Don't talk about being a failure. Talk about being in the process of building your foundation, right? And building your network. And it takes a lot of those sort of stumblings and fallings, but at every step of the way, treat everyone around you with utmost respect. And they will trust you and they will lift you up. There you go. I didn't keep their money. I went back and practiced.
Oh, both mics, okay. Hi everyone, I am Susmita Vemprala, Coach Susmita. I love the conversation that's happening. So one of the things that I haven't been doing that's something that I'm doing that is not serving me is sitting around people like this, motivated and absolutely excited about dreaming big. So I love the stories that have been shared so far, and I love what you asked about as well, because a lot of what I do as coaching is to get women to think and dream big. And it is I think it's hard, it saddens me in some ways to see that a lot of where we limit ourselves comes from within. And I think that's what I just admire about the group out here. And I do agree with what you talked about as well, is it inspires me of what your story and that you've shared is, because ethical business is actually still something that can be scalable and sustainable. So this is awesome. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Okay. Hi, good evening. Well, Stacy, it's so great to see you again. And I've also enjoyed listening to everyone's stories. I'm Jeanette Martell, and I love helping people make smart money decisions. So everything you're talking about, it's just soaking it all in, because I love women talking about money. I started in the financial services career when I was very young, 19. And at that time, I was probably one of 2 women in financial advising. So especially Latina, speaking Spanish, helping people, manage their money or invest. So I think one of the things that I would love for you to answer It's just because when I think about my journey, I was very fortunate to have someone, bring me on to boards, but more on the nonprofit side. So I've continued to do that. And until recently, or maybe it just never, crossed my mind, but really the importance of women serving in for-profit boards, which is completely different, nonprofit versus for-profit. So I'd like you to talk about that, the difference, and then also the importance, again, of why we should be on boards to begin with.
Yes. Oh, I love that question. Yes. So, anybody here serving on any boards now? Yes. So there's not enough women, and definitely not enough diverse women sitting on boards. And there's not enough CEOs that are running companies that are women and diverse. So we need to prepare ourselves. There are, and as I talk about investing in yourself, there are board readiness institutes. LCDA, the Latino Corporate Directors Association, has one. Harvard, I mean, there's a lot of, I don't know if Rice has one, but I would say that's one way, and networking, and then you can start getting on people's radar and talking and being introduced to the right people and letting people know that's what you want to do, right? Because they just, all right, we'll just have her on another nonprofit. Well, no, I've had enough. I've done that before. It's time to move on to something else and dream bigger. So letting people know that. Do you know somebody that's already on a for-profit board that you can talk to that can help, mentor you and make introductions? I mean, I would start there. Oh yes, that's a new thing I learned too that I didn't know before leaving corporate. I told my mom, I was like, oh, that's a nice little retirement. Some people are making $300,000 a year for attending a meeting once a quarter because they sit on a for-profit board for a corporation. And they like to hold on to it too. They'll be on there for like 12 years, 15 years till they die. So we need to make sure that, yes, that we are sitting on those boards.
Hello, my name is Ariana Rodriguez. I am 22, and I have a question for you. As a busy woman about to graduate college, I work with 2 major companies as a contract graphic designer. I'm an intern for Good Sparrow here, Jess and Nelson, and I also designed and painted the Astros mural for the 2023 opening day. That being said, I feel like I do a lot, and hearing your story really inspired me. I just need to know, how do you do it? Because it's stressful. I know you know.
Oh yes, single mom of 2. Oh yeah. A lot of coffee in the morning because I'm not a morning person, but still that alarm clock goes off and I'm barely getting Sophia to school on time, except for when my mom is there, then she's there early, but I'm like, I don't know how my dogs are fed and the plants. I can't keep any plants, because I'm just like constantly go. And, but like I said, it's time is currency. So I look at my calendar, decide, plan out my day, and you have to be strategic about your time. Most of all is what, spending time over here of any value to me and my kids. And if it's not helping to, bring a brighter future to Sophia and to DJ and, adding it, I don't need to be there. Yeah, I've done all that. I had a lot of fun. So that's all, and even if you're not sure, I mean, like, you can call me, like, should I go to this or should I do this? I'm really not sure. And I'll be like, okay, and start thinking about that, questioning that. Or maybe I just need to not do anything and stay in my pajamas all day long on a Sunday and watch movies. I mean, sometimes we need that too. When your body is just tired and you've been go and not getting enough rest sometimes, and then we get sick. So you just have to also listen to your body and take a break sometimes too.
There's one thing I'll add to that, just as an entrepreneur, been an entrepreneur for 5 years now. And that's when you look at your calendar, doing the same thing, making sure that there is at least 50% of your time that's spent on revenue generating activities. The dishes can wait. You know, the laundry can wait. But but your time, you only have so much time and energy. And so looking at your calendar and prioritizing revenue generating activities, whether that's networking events, whether that's having a call with the mentor who's gonna help connect you to the right people, but making sure that we are focused on generating revenue and wealth for ourselves and not depending on other people to do that for us.
Yep, but I will have another comment to that. As a 56-year-old who's been this rat race for longer, I will say you need to calendar self-care.
Yes.
You need to calendar your friends, right? You need to calendar your family. Because other people will own your calendar if you don't own your calendar.
Yes.
Put yourself first on your calendar.
Put yourself and your friends and your body and your family on your calendar and value them because they are limited resources too. And they may need to be around a lot longer than that company that you're working on that's that foundational one that may not be the be all and end all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, my name is Lisa Marie Emmett. I'm the founder of Sled Dog Athletics. So I create impactful corporate wellness programming for medium to large companies. So I had a question really on growing your network. So we're a part of a great network of entrepreneurs here. But I'm trying to figure out how to kind of grow my network within like more of the corporate environment and like, you know, more business leaders, like larger size companies. I've been, you know, invited to many networking events like, you know, the BNIs and all that. And it's a lot of, you know, business to consumer companies, whereas I'm B2B, and yes, I'm looking for, you know, clients as well, but also just trying to get in the room and speak with business owners to learn more about, you know, what they're looking for, what their stress points are, what their problems are, how I can even just offer some advice, even not trying to just get business out of every networking opportunity.
Yeah, not all of those networking happy hours are worth your time. So, you know, you have to be strategic about that. I'm attending this because I'm going to meet, this person is going to be there, or this company is going to be there, or so-and-so is going to introduce me because, you know, they know that person. I mean, that helps, having those warm introductions, or, you know, keeping a list. If you don't already have like a list or a CRM or some kind of mapping of like, who are my potential clients, you know, who you want to target, and, you know, what are they hosting that maybe you can get an invitation to, you know, it's kind of just like map it out.
Hi, Stacy. Hi. So I'm Jessica, founder of Good Sparrow. So I've been to a lot of your speaking events, and I keep hearing, you know, we need to invest, and founders also need to invest, and I've been thinking about that a lot too. But I also know that a lot of spaces you need to have like $1 million+ to be led into these circles. So for those that don't have that much money, that can't be an accredited investor yet, what can we do? How do we invest? Is it investing in other people's funds the way I see you doing, or what can we do?
Great question. So angel investing is one way to start making investments, and it could be $5,000 or $10,000, but you're getting that experience and doing due diligence. You're growing your network. Like I'm part of Angeles Investors, and it just costs $1,500 to be a member. The expectation is to invest like $25,000 annually, and then they have quarterly pitch demo days that you can decide if you're interested, you can invest in those companies. If you're not, you don't have to, and you can invest as much or as little as you want. That's one way. I'm also part of the Houston Women's Investment Group, and we're a lot of Latina leaders here. everybody didn't have $50,000 to invest in Agility Bank as a shareholder because that's what the minimum was. So we pulled our resources together. Some people put $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, and then we were able to, as a group, invest in the bank. So those are other ways. You know, you can pool your friends, your colleagues, and invest together.
You're welcome. Well, thank you guys so much for all those amazing questions. We are going to go ahead and wrap up the combo and Q&A section. To allow for networking, to go around and meet, take pictures with Stacy, have fun, meet other people and like-minded women. And I just want to say a big thank you to Stacy for sharing her wisdom, for creating space for us, and to Stephanie for lending us this amazing venue that we all get together in. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. This was so much fun. Enjoy meeting all of you, and I wish you all so much success in all that you do, in all of your business endeavors and your careers, and our young daughters that are here. That's amazing. We need to start doing more of that, and I hope you enjoy. Keep dreaming big, dreaming big.